Today we're going to talk about the few things that you must possess if you're serious about becoming a champion. Hello everybody, this is Enzo. Welcome to episode 2 of season 3 of the Race Driver Coach. It's still great to be back. Thank you for joining me. I want to get straight to the point. You get drivers, right? And they know what they want to achieve in racing. But there's often something stopping them. It could be the cash, it could be the skill, but you can get both of them things. You can learn how to drive to a certain level. You can learn how to gain or attract the money or the finance or the opportunity that you want. The problem comes when you're speaking about the actual individual. Now, not everybody is born to be a racer. There's certain drivers that can go out there and test, and they still will never be as good as what they need. They won't make the cut. Where you get others that don't, and they seem to have this natural ability to drive, right? And also on the business side, if I tell a driver to go and get sponsorship and I tell them exactly how to get it, they still won't, because they haven't got the charisma, they haven't got the salesmanship, they haven't got the confidence. And you can teach them confidence, but they don't care. They haven't got the drive, the inner drive to help them pick up the phone, go to that network meeting and meet people. So all this stuff that I teach you, right? All these how-tos, the best information that's out there. I'm not going to beat around the bush. What you're listening to now, no one else is telling you. It's the best that's out there. It's all proven. And this isn't inflating me. This is just saying I've been in the industry for decades. I've just seen it. I know it. But what the problem really is, it comes down to the individual, like I say. The mindset, how they use their brain. And before I go too deep, let me just share with you the question that set up this video. It was from somebody who wants to be called Comet. Now, I don't know if that's your real name, but why not? Comet says, my coach keeps on saying that I need to be braver, both in racing and qualifying. Have you got any advice on this? Now, that's quite a broad question. We often get broad questions, and Comet didn't get back to me, so I can't really have a to and fro, but reading a tiny bit of paragraph that you gave me before this, I can tell that you've never had a crash, a big one. You've always just been under the limit. You hardly ever spin. And you want to just raise up the bravery. Be a bit more courageous in the car. Be on the edge. Which is really, that's what a race driver should do. If you're going out in that car and you're nowhere near the limit, you're underneath, you're being safe, you're not a race driver. A race driver will look death in the face at every corner. Well, the fast ones. They'll put themselves into positions where it's risky. So if you're in a racecraft situation, you put yourself in a position where the other car's got to make a decision of how this is going to get down. That's the kind of mentality you need. It's not going to be probably the safest way, and it's probably going to lose championships. But like Senna used to say, there were so many times where he would tell people that, you know what, looking back on my career, I could have had more points. I probably could have had more championships if I just knew when to hold back. But the thing is, when you've got a driver that's like Senna, who's known for being on the edge, who's known for being aggressive and taking it to the limit more than their teammates are prepared to, they're known for that. On the flip side, they're going to make monumental mistakes, huge ones, have bigger accidents than most people. But they're going to push the envelope because they're not scared of that. It's part of it. To go to the limit is where they live. That's where they feel alive. If they go through a corner and just about get away with something that could have, one gust of wind could have put them off, and they thought they were going off, but they survive, they get a buzz. I'm sure you've been there. If you felt this in a race car, you think you're going off, but somehow you either save it or it just somehow gripped, magical grip, and you get through and it's quicker. It's a buzz. Now that's what champions live for. We would not want Senna to hold back too much because we would have missed out all them overtakes, all them amazing qualifying sessions he did. But when you've got someone like that who's on the edge that much, they will screw up big time. This is what you guys have got to remember. Everybody that's been too safe out there is actually some way wasting a lot of money, and you're being more dangerous because you're apprehensive. You're feeling stuff in the car that's not really there. You're not warming the tyres up properly. You have got to be super aggressive, assertive in a race car. You've got to demand that car do what you want it to do. It's like a horse. If you're getting into a race car, if you're getting on top of a horse and you're a bit nervous, the horse knows it. Same with your race car. You have got to be kind of elbows out, if you like, kind of driving style, but precise. This leads me to the things that champions possess of all sports. There's two things that I want you to keep in mind, and I want you to start to introduce to your life, in life and in the car. The number one rule of a champion, there's plenty of rules, but I'm going to go for the main two that I'm thinking of that's on this topic. Number one is they screw up more than most people. They make more mistakes. They fail more. Now you just think of Michael Jordan, right? I think he missed 26 shots that were at the end of the game. What are they called? When when the buzzers or the time's got 3 seconds left and it's down to you, the game-winning shot. The scores are equal. If you get this in the next 3 seconds, you've won the game. And he's gone up, shot, and missed 26 of them. Them actual moments. He's lost over 300 games. He's missed over 9,000 shots, he said. But I tell you what, he only missed that much and made them failures because he went for it in the first place. Most players, when it comes to that 3 seconds, they pass the ball. They don't want to be held responsible. They don't want to be a failure. They don't want people judging them. He didn't think like that. When the pressure's on, that's when I step up. This is where I'm alive. And if I miss, I'll adjust next time, but I will go for it. Same when you look at race drivers. They push the envelope, right? You see Schumacher and Valentino Rossi, these guys have huge shunts on Fridays, or used to, right? Huge shunts on Fridays. They were pushing the boundaries so much that they were not really thinking about, oh, the car, will they fix it for qualifying tomorrow? It's just, let's test the limit. Let's test the limit, next corner. No worry about consequence. This is the first rule of a champion. They put themselves out there. They're on the front line. They just go. Full attack. And if you're not doing that, as I say, as a race driver, you got to question whether this is the right sport for you. Because there's going to be times, virtually every single race weekend, when you're going to have a situation that's going to cause you to decide, shall I go for it or shall I hold back? And if you're more often than not thinking I've got to hold back, that is basically you putting a nail in the coffin of your career. And I don't want you to go out there and take that corner flat like you've never done before and have an accident, but I'm just saying the non-negotiable of being a champion is to be prepared to fail a lot more than most people. If you think of all these people that you admire, they have screwed up more times than the person you've never heard of. P1 person has screwed up more times than P10 person who's not really prepared to go for the limit. It's just what's got to be done. You've got to live by the seat of your pants if you want big rewards. You've got to do the things that most people won't do, which is really another rule. If you want the rewards that nobody else has got, nobody else dare go for. The David and Goliath story. This isn't biblical. This is just me saying to you, if you really want to get out there, if you want to achieve what you've got in mind in racing, then you can't hold back. If you do, you might as well give up. If you're just doing it for fun, that's okay. But if you want to be a world beater, you want to be a champion, even if that championship is local, then I'm afraid you're going to have to push the boundaries more than anyone else. Takes me on to number two. Another fear that people have is not just the consequence of going off or screwing up. It's what people will say. So rule number two of champions is they've got more haters than everybody else. Now that is something that's a great fear in people now. In this modern day life, when we haven't really got that much to fear, if we're worrying about race driving and getting the money for it, we haven't got really that much to fear in life. You haven't got the soldiers knocking on your door, coming in, taking your wife, taking your kids, taking your mother and doing things to them, have you? You haven't got that. You haven't got really anything. You haven't got a big tiger outside trying to kill you because it's them or you. We live in a soft society now. And that's caused us to still have the same pain or fear receptors in the mind, but now we've attached it to silly things like not being liked, like somebody posting a comment, somebody we don't even care about having an opinion on us. We let that put us in a box. We let that put us in prison and stop us being our true selves. Criminal, right? But that is what most people do. I don't want to be judged. I don't want my dad to be right and say I told you so. It's all other people. If you again want to be a champion, you've got to embrace them haters. You've got to embrace them opinions and just say, people don't know. People don't understand. I know what I've got to do. I've got to fail more in order to get better. I've got to push myself out there, take the feedback from the failures and go again. That means a lot of people are going to say, you're no good. Whatever. You do not think about that. You do not allow that to affect you, just like you do not celebrate the times when people say, oh, you're doing well. If you want to ignore and not give people power when they're giving you negative comments, you ignore and not allow people to give you power when they give you positive comments. You just say, thank you, good, no matter what the comment. They don't understand. They're living their life. They haven't got time to really, they don't care about you. They don't give a damn about you. You probably saw a podcast. If you haven't, go and look at one of my podcasts that people don't give a damn about you. It's so true. You're taking yourself way too seriously, most people. And it's causing you to hold back again. I'm worried about what so-and-so will think. Embrace it. Again, look at every single champion that you admire and you will notice that a lot of people hate them. A lot of people put it all on them and say, oh, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that. And then they've got loads of lovers as well, but it's really fierce both ways. It's just the way it is. You can't control what other people think. I don't want you going through life on eggshells, on a tightrope, trying to please other people all the time at the sacrifice of your own goals. It doesn't make sense. Heart on the sleeve. You go for this. You go for your goal, and if people don't like it, they probably won't. But again, they've got their own life to worry about. I want you to remember this statement. Champions believe in things that help them, even if they're not true. So, let's just say this, right? You pretty much choose what to believe in. You live in a matrix. You've heard me say this before. You live in a matrix that's built up on the beliefs that are in your head by your viewpoints and the way you see things. So you've got like a list of global beliefs of this means that equals this, and that's what you believe. And you operate using that system, right? Them rules. Now, if you have rules that help you but might not actually be true, then that's fine. As long as it's not getting in on anybody else's way, it's serving you for the good, then there's no problem with that. And the kind of things that champions believe is often different to most people. So if you want results that is different to most, then quite often you have to believe in things that is different to most. So if you go into a race car and you know that you're willing, should I say, to take risks, calculated ones that might go wrong, might go pear-shaped, may mean you're not going to finish this race, but you know if it comes off it's going to absolutely win you the race, then you're going to go for it. That's the kind of rule of risk equals reward, or failure equals feedback. These are true rules that might not be true all the time because you might get injured. I don't want you to get injured, by the way, but I'm just saying, might not be true, but a champion will believe that and see it that way, which makes them act differently to somebody who might say failure is embarrassing. Failure is a step back. Do you see what I'm getting at here? Your viewpoints and beliefs around certain things are going to determine how you behave, how you act in the car, and how you react to things. So you need a complete, if you're comfort zoning, you're staying in a comfort zone, you have the kind of things of, I don't want to screw up in front of everybody because of what it might mean and because of how they're going to see me, you're never going to make it. You're never going to make it to as far as you've got in mind if you really want to go far in racing. But if you look at it like a champion, of I must fail, I must make mistakes in order to learn and adjust and go again. I don't care really what people think because they ain't got a clue what I'm going through. That's the kind of mindset. That's the starting point. And from there, you take decisions with these beliefs driving those decisions, and those cause actions, and that's the loop. It's two different lives then. If you've got somebody going the safe route and they'll only push it so far, you can pretty much guess where their career's going to go. They might finish every race. They might never spin, always bring the car back, have hardly any crash damage, so the bills are cheaper to start with, but they're going to be paying to drive forever. Then if you get this risky dude or dudette, the person who's willing to push themselves, the person who's willing to take their performance at the end of the day, have a look and really dissect it to see how they could go better, with no rules about how far they're willing to push it. And they don't care about others so much because they're so focused on themselves. They get on with others, they lead them, but they're the leader, they're the warrior that's running the show. I think you can pretty much guess where their trajectory of their career is going to go. That's what you need. You have to be brave. If you're about to do something monumental like create a career in racing or maintain that career, get paid to race a car, then you've got to do things that others are not willing to do. And that is often based around fear. Just like when you have to go and talk to that prospective sponsor, the potential sponsor in that networking party. Again, if you're not willing to fail when you say hello to them and talk to them about what you've got to offer them, and you're worried about what they'll think, if you do ask them, then you're not going to ask them. But a champion salesman will go up there with his best pitch, what he's got at the moment, or what she can really sell, and give it their all. And if it's a no, then it's a no. At least you know now. Can you see where I'm going with this? You have to risk more and you have to care less about what people think. And if you take them two rules of a champion, just them two, man, your life is going to be so different. Please, please remember these two rules of a champion. They risk more because they know failure's feedback and they don't give a damn what people think. If you need to change your beliefs around this in order to help you, then do so. This is only for people who are going for the big time. Anyone else who's happy just being medium, keeping the car in one piece, then don't listen to this information. This is for people who really want to win. You got it? See you next time.